I've never seen Josh move so fast, like lightning on his feet. His body's low, shoulders angled, and aimed right at me. Marcus taught him this move, the right way to tackle a guy on the opposing team that would guarantee a takedown. I remember that afternoon. The two of us were hanging out in his backyard, throwing a football around and chasing each other like idiots. Marcus stepped outside of the house in his jersey and a pair of sweatpants and asked us if we wanted to learn how the game worked for real. 10 minutes later, I was laid out in the grass, struggling to catch my breath while Josh stood over me laughing about how easy it was to take me down. But nobody's laughing now. I don't feel the impact at first. Just the tilt to my feet as they lift up off the ground and the raw panic that comes with the unexpected. A momentary freeze frame suspends us in the air, floating. I suck in. Then everything after happens so fast. The view above me fast forwards from bleachers to sky, and then the rest of my body reacts, catching up in real time. My lungs lose all of their air while the rest of me goes flying backwards like I don't weigh a thing. But nothing floats forever. Gravity reaches out and slams my spine against the gravel so hard I stop breathing. I don't even have a minute to catch my breath. Josh comes crashing down on top of me and wastes no time crushing my collar in one hand and cocking back the other. I open my mouth to say something to stop him, to say anything that'll buy a couple seconds to explain the unexplainable. But his knuckles smash my could-have-been apology to pieces. I don't even brace myself. I don't fight back. I let blood splatter out of my lips and across the concrete without any thought of making him stop. Maybe he shouldn't. Maybe this is the only way he can know that I am sorry and I didn't mean for any of this to happen. Or maybe I need to stop letting the silence speak for me and expose Trish for what she is, for what she did to me, for everything she's done. I shake off the sting of Josh's right hook, grab him by the jersey and shove him off me. The kid's built like a brick wall, but I managed to catch him off guard and send him stumbling backwards further into the open. I sit up and slowly run my hand along the edge of my jaw to see if it's still in one piece. The joint clicks itself back into place, and once I'm sure the pain won't make me pass out, I force myself to my feet. Trish pulls her shirt on, runs over to Josh and starts screeching his name like he's been shot. A crowd starts to gather around the scene because of her. I limp over to him and offer a hand, but he slaps it away without thinking twice. Hurt spreads through my chest like brush fire, but I swallow it and do my best to let anger take its place. Josh, I know how this looks, but I can explain, I say as I grab my shirt off the ground and struggle to pull it down over my shoulders. Josh's eyes bulge to the size of golf balls as he steps forward to rush me again, but Trish stops him short.
What's there to explain, E? Trish texted me to come meet up with y'all and I walk in on this? What the hell were you doing?
I don't remember. I don't want to remember. I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I told her to stop, Jay. Honest to God, I did. And I know that doesn't excuse what happened, but you know me, man. I would never do something like this to you.
But you did. What do you want me to think? That she just jumped you all on her own?
I want you to believe me. You weren't there, Josh. You don't know who she is when you're not around.
Apparently, I don't know who you are either.
Whispers ricochet around the three of us while I try and fail to figure out an answer that'll prove him wrong. Maybe there isn't one. Think what you want, but she's playing you, man. She's been playing the both of us all summer. I choke up. I didn't know how to tell you. Josh holds my gaze for a few long seconds before shifting his attention over to Trish.
Is that true, T?
He asks, and for a split second, all the anger and alcohol running around in his veins comes to a standstill. He doesn't move, just stands there, eyes racing, until Trish opens her mouth and takes aim at the truth like her tongue's a loaded gun.
Babe, before I met you, I was involved with Eli, but it didn't mean anything to me. We met at a party, I was wasted, and we only saw each other a couple times after that. But once I met you, I told him things had to stop. But he just couldn't accept it. He kept trying to see me.
What the hell, Trish? I'm shouting, but Josh lifts up a hand to silence me and doesn't even make a move to look in my direction. The whole world's falling apart, and he won't even look away from the girl who's sending it up in flames. I stare at Trish across the space, warning her to stop, begging her to back off from the direction she's going. But her eyes are dark and dead set on destroying me.
Keep going, T. Everybody's listening.
Josh says. And he's not wrong. In the last couple minutes, the crowd has doubled in size, and people from both schools have their phones out and their fingers on the trigger. My sweat runs cold when the wall of people around me thickens to the point where I feel like there's no way out. Panic wraps itself around my throat while Trish tightens her noose around my neck. She snuggles up to Josh, lays her head on his shoulder, and wipes away fake tears everyone else believes but me.
I'm sorry, babe. It's just even after Lois knew I was involved with you, he didn't stop making passes at me. Remember when you asked me out at Ricky's party? The only reason I was scared to say yes was because of him. That night, when you went to get booze for the party, he asked me to...
Trish, please!
Elias asked me to do things in your car with him that I still regret. I only said yes because I thought it'd be the last time, but tonight wasn't any different. I know I should have said something sooner, but I was scared to.
I don't even know how it happens as fast as it does. But suddenly Josh is a blur of hands and arms and pure rage. He crashes into me. But this time I struggle to stay on my feet. He digs his hands into my shoulders, and I stiff-arm him to keep 200 pounds of future tight end at a distance. But my shoes slip underneath his weight. I slide backwards, rubber soles skidding across the ground until Josh slams me up against the metal beam supporting the bleachers so hard, I stop seeing straight. I blink the world back into focus, only to find Josh with his hands locked around my neck and his thumbs pressed into my windpipe. I open my mouth to say something, but I'm all out of answers. There isn't an answer to the disgust on Josh's face, or the sadness, or the hurt. It doesn't matter if what Trish said was true or not. He believes it. It's written in the reds of his eyes and the tears on his cheeks and the way he's looking at me. Like I'm a stranger. Like I'm nobody to him. Like I'm less than nothing.
Tell me you didn't touch her, and I'll let all this go. Tell me that everything she said didn't happen, and I'll walk away.
He says, barely louder than a whisper. But I hear him loud and clear. Tell me you didn't like her, Eli. Tell me it wasn't you. Tell me you didn't ruin things over a girl. Tell me you're a better person than this. Lie to me. I can't. Josh's whole face twists in confusion to the point where I can barely stand to look at him.
Why?
Keep it together, E. Because I made a mistake. Tonight was a fucking mistake, and if you want to hate me for that, go ahead. But I never forced Trish to do anything with me, Josh. Don't lose it now, E. Yes, we messed around before you got together, but You're crying, E. I promise you things didn't happen the way she said. I didn't know it was you. Once I did, I tried to cut her out, but things got so messed up. You lost it. All of it. Josh, Lacey, yourself. It doesn't even matter what you say. I never should have done anything with her after that. But I have, and this is who you are now. Alone. I'm so sorry. There's supposed to be a moment right before things fall apart where everything good about your life plays out in your head like a Hallmark special. But right now, the only thing playing out in front of me is Josh taking his pick of where to hit next. 5 jabs in, he's getting bored with my face. I see it in his expression. His lips crumple between his teeth while mine split right down the middle. My mouth's a mess of broken, ugly skin. Blood spilling down my throat, leaking down my chin. Staining my whole face red. We watched a movie like this once. Me and Josh. About a guy who went crazy in a hotel and tried to murder his whole family. He had blood all over his face like I do now. He looked like I do now. But he acted the way Josh is acting. Wildly destructive. Like a hurricane. Tearing the hell out of me. Everything's raw, swollen, throbbing. The pain's familiar. But this time, it's got the upper hand. There's no pauses in it. No breaks. No relief. It hits me hard and fast. Impulses. Waves. Little tsunamis underneath my skin. I can barely see straight. But the sight of Josh's eyes is coming in crystal clear. They're thunderstorm dark. Raging. Deadlocked on mine. Sweat's beating on the skin of his temples and his cable wire veins are bursting out of his neck. His mouth tightens and twists at the corners as he tells me that this is my fault, that everything's my fault. Over and over, until I believe it. If I had any fight left, maybe I'd try harder to tell him the truth, to keep talking until he believed me. But now, I can't. Because his hands are wrapped around my throat. Tight. Tighter. So my brain taps out of the moment. My eyes flutter shut. And I slip into a memory. A good one. Josh and me throwing around. Play fighting. And wrestling back when nothing could have come between us. Back when competition between brothers didn't turn into chaos. Josh used to pin me to the ground like he's pinning me against the beams right now. He'd take the extra muscle and handful of inches he had on me and hold me down till I'd say mercy. But once I did, he'd always let me go. He'd stop when I asked him to, count down from 3. And just like that, it was game over. All that violence just up and disappeared. He'd smile, laugh, and go back to being my best friend. The version of him who used to love me like a brother. But that version of him is gone. I start begging him to stop, but he's not stopping like he used to. He's not smiling like he used to. He's squeezing. Hard. Harder. And I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't. So I stop. I stop trying and count down from 3, 2, 1. Game over.